This video will give you a brief overview of SmartDocs and a live demonstration of the product so you can see for yourself just how powerful and easy to use SmartDocs is. SmartDocs is a content management and content reuse solution for Microsoft Word. With SmartDocs, you will create new documentation more quickly by reusing pieces of content that have already been authored. You will generate higher quality documentation because all writers will be using the latest approved content. And you will keep your documentation consistent and up to date because SmartDocs will track all of the documents and the writers that have reused content and automatically notify these writers when content they have reused has been changed. SmartDocs is used by teams of writers who work with repetitive content. For example, technical writers use SmartDocs to help generate user manuals, help guides, and policies and procedures. Sales and marketing writers use SmartDocs to help generate sales proposals, data sheets, and marketing brochures. Medical writers use SmartDocs to help generate study protocols, investigator brochures, and clinical study reports. Instructional designers and trainers use SmartDocs to help generate instructor-led training guides, participant training guides, and course assessments. And other teams of writers that work with repetitive content use SmartDocs to help streamline the creation and maintenance of their documentation. In today's demonstration, you're going to see how SmartDocs can be used to help create and maintain user guides. All of the concepts you see in today's demonstration are applicable to other types of documents as well. In the example that we're going to work with today, we have a company called the Intech Corporation. Intech creates consumer multimedia devices such as media players and smartphones. We're going to show you how you can reuse content between the media player and the smartphone user guides using the SmartDocs features called reusable variables and reusable snippets. In addition, our media player product has 3 different variations. We have the Intune Media Player Pro, which supports video and internet, Intune Media Player Classic, which supports video only, and the Intune Media Player Mini, which does not support video, nor does it support internet. We are going to show you how you can use conditional text, document snapshots, and bulk publishing to generate 3 different variations of a user guide from a single Microsoft Word document. Let's begin this demonstration by taking a quick look at the SmartDocs user interface. SmartDocs is integrated completely inside of Microsoft Word, so you never need to leave your Word authoring environment in order to create, find, or use reusable content inside of your documentation. If we take a look at the Microsoft Word ribbon, we can see that there's a SmartDocs tab. From the SmartDocs tab, we have access to all of our SmartDocs functionality. In addition, there's also a SmartDocs task pane. We can use the SmartDocs task pane to access the most commonly used functionality, and the SmartDocs task pane will also give us contextual information about our document as our cursor moves in and out of SmartDocs content. You will see examples of this in the rest of the demonstration today. Let's now take a look at reusable snippets. Reusable snippets give you the ability to convert any piece of Microsoft Word content into a reusable snippet, which can then be searched for and reused by other writers on your writing team. The first thing I want to show you is how you can search for an existing reusable snippet and insert it inside of your documentation. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to my SmartDocs task pane, and I've already clicked on my reusable snippets group. Searching for a reusable snippet is very easy. All I need to do is type in the search terms that I'm searching for. In this case, I'm searching for a regulatory reusable snippet, and I click on the search icon. The SmartDocs task pane will show me the results of my search. In this case, I want to insert the regulatory compliance snippet into my document. Before I do that, I can click on the View button, which will give me a preview of what the reusable snippet looks like. After I have verified that this is the snippet that I want to insert into my content, all I need to do is click on the Insert button, or in this case, I will drag and drop the snippet inside of my document. You can see here is SmartDocs has inserted the content of that reusable snippet inside of my document, and SmartDocs is now also recognizing this Microsoft Word content as a reusable snippet. You can see that all reusable snippets are surrounded in a blue outline, along with a tab that is displayed that gives you the name of the snippet. If we look over in our SmartDocs task pane, we can also see, because our cursor is inside of a reusable snippet, it is giving us information about that snippet. It is showing us the name of the SmartDocs, the name of the reusable snippet, the name of the SmartDocs repository that the snippet was inserted from, and it's also giving me version information. It's giving me the version of the snippet that I'm using inside of my document, and it's giving me the latest version of that snippet that is available in my SmartDocs repository. Reusable snippets can contain any type of Microsoft Word content. They can contain just plain text, rich content such as boldface and italics and word styles. They can also contain more advanced content such as word tables and graphics and charts. Essentially, any Word content that you can highlight and copy and paste, you can convert into a reusable snippet. Now let's take a look at how easy it is to create a new reusable snippet. In this example, what I want to do is I want to convert this recycling information section into a snippet that then other writers in my team can search for and use inside of their documentation. If we take a look at this section, we can see that it contains some rich content, such as boldface, and it also contains a graphical image down here. So as we previously mentioned, any type of Microsoft Word content can be converted into a reusable snippet. So to create a new snippet, all I need to do is I need to highlight the content that I want to convert into a snippet. I then click on the New Snippet button up on the SmartDocs ribbon, and this will open the new snippet wizard. This wizard will walk me through a couple screens and the process of creating a new snippet. The first thing I need to do is I need to select the SmartDocs repository to save my snippet to. In this case, we will save our snippet to the Technical Publications repository. The next thing we need to do is assign metadata for the snippet. Metadata is used so other writers can then browse or search for snippets to use inside of their documentation. And what is important for you to take away from the screen is that the metadata in SmartDocs is completely configurable. The three metadata fields that you see on your screen right now are for demonstration purposes only. You have complete control over your metadata, including the number of metadata fields that you want, the name of each of those metadata fields, and the type of each metadata field, for example, whether it's a free text field or a drop-down box. So in this case, I will enter a name for our snippet, and I will also assign it a topic. In this case, this is a regulatory snippet. And the description field is optional, so I will leave that blank. I click the Next button, and SmartDocs is going to validate my metadata. Then I reach the final screen in the wizard where I can click the Finish button to create the new reusable snippet. So what just happened is SmartDocs extracted a copy of the highlighted content, and it uploaded that to our SmartDocs repository as a new reusable snippet. We can see we have a success message on the screen that says the snippet was successfully created. And if we now return to our document, we can see that we see the same familiar blue outline and the tab indicating that this content is now recognized as a reusable snippet. And just like before, if we look over in our SmartDocs task pane, we can see that SmartDocs is giving us the information for this reusable snippet. In just a minute, I'm going to show you an example of how you can reuse this reusable snippet inside of another document. Before I do that, I quickly wanted to point out that this reusable snippet contains what we call reusable variables. Reusable variables are used to centralize the definition of a commonly used piece of text. In this example, we have created a reusable variable for product name. This user guide can take on a variety of product names depending on the type of output that we are trying to produce, whether that's for the Intune Mini, the Intune Classic, or the Intune Pro. Instead of typing in the product name throughout our documentation and then relying on search and replace for updates, we have instead created a variable for the product name, and then we have inserted that variable many times throughout this document, including multiple times inside of this reusable snippet. You're going to see in just a minute how using variables inside of your snippets can increase the reusability of your snippets. Let's now take a look at how we can reuse snippets inside of a new Microsoft Word document. In this example, I'm going to create a new smartphone user guide off of our user guide Word template. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on the template to launch a new Microsoft Word document. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this document to give it a name. So we will call this Invoice Smartphone User Guide. As I scroll through this document, you can see it looks very similar to our other user guide, except this is just a blank document. It contains our section headings and very little content. The next thing that I will do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to assign a product name to this document. And we can do that using reusable variables as we described before. So all I need to do is I need to click inside of one of these reusable variables and assign a product name. You can see as soon as I enter that product name, you can see our SmartDocs task pane has been updated to reflect the value that we have assigned that variable. And if I now start scrolling through my document, you can see every section that was using that variable has now been populated with the value invoice smartphone. So that is a quick example of the power of reusable variables. You centralize the definition of your variables, and then anytime you make a change to one of the values, that value will automatically propagate throughout your documentation. Let's now take a look at how we can reuse the snippets that we used in the first user guide inside of this smartphone user guide. I've already showed you how you can use the SmartDocs task pane to search for a reusable snippet, so I'm going to show you a couple different ways that you can find and insert snippets inside of your documents in this example. The first example I want to show you is called a Smart Finder. You can see here in section 4 in this document there is some text that says double click here to find regulatory snippets. This is a SmartDocs Smart Finder. As a user, all I need to do is double click on this text, and SmartDocs is executing a predefined search for me, and it is showing me all of the snippets that match that predefined search criteria. In this case, I'm getting a list of all of my snippets that have been classified as regulatory. And in this example, I want to select my regulatory compliance snippet, I want to click on the Insert button, and the Smart Finder will automatically insert the snippet inside of my document. Smart Finders are a very powerful feature that can be used by your template authors who can predefine searches and embed Smart Finders inside of your documents so other authors who are creating documents off of those templates can quickly find snippets that are relevant to them. Another way that I can insert snippets, in addition to search and Smart Finders, is I can browse for a snippet. To browse, all I need to do is click on the folder icon up in the SmartDocs ribbon. And as you can see, my SmartDocs Browse user interface opens up. The Browse user interface works very much like Windows Explorer, where on the left-hand side it's going to show me all of my SmartDocs repositories and the folder structure inside of those repositories. In this case, I'm going to go into the regulatory folder inside my technical publications repository. And SmartDocs will show me all of the snippets that are inside of that folder. And let's go ahead and insert the recycling information snippet that we just created in our other user guide inside of this user guide. So I can select my snippet, I can click on the Insert button, and you can see that snippet has been inserted inside of our document. Let's now take a look at the recycling information snippet that we just inserted inside of this document. If you recall, this reusable snippet contained that product name reusable variable. As you can see, each of these reusable variables was automatically updated to the value invoice smartphone. because that is the value that we assigned to this variable inside of this document. So as you can see, as you reuse snippets that contain reusable variables, the values of those variables will automatically update to take on the value that has been assigned to that document. Let's now take a look to see what happens when you update a reusable snippet. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and update this recycling information snippet, save the changes to the snippet back to my SmartDocs repository, and then go back to my first user guide to see how SmartDocs notifies you of those changes and how you can accept those changes inside of your documentation. So let's go ahead and let's delete the battery replacement statement from the snippet. And let's add an example sentence to indicate an addition to the snippet. The first thing that you will notice over in your SmartDocs task pane is SmartDocs is now notifying us that we have made changes to the snippet, but we have not yet saved those changes back to our SmartDocs repository. You're not required to save your changes back to the SmartDocs repository, but if you have permissions, you can save your changes back, which will then trigger out notifications to all the other authors who are using that same snippet. So in this case, we can go ahead and we can click on this notification, and we have all sorts of options here. But the option I'm going to pick is I'm going to say I want to save my changes to the snippet to my SmartDocs repository. You can enter some optional comments for the snippet to describe the changes that you just made. And you have complete control over the version history around your snippets, whether you want to do major versioning, minor versioning. So what I can do is click on the Save button. And just like before, SmartDocs extracted a copy of the snippet, and it saved the copy of that snippet back to my SmartDocs repository as a new version of the snippet. If we go ahead and we close the success message, and we look back over in our task pane, we can see that the status notification went away because I have saved my changes. And additionally, we can see that the version information has changed to indicate that this is now version 2.0 of the snippet, and that is the latest version of the snippet available in the SmartDocs repository. Let's now go ahead and open up our Media Player user guide so we can see how the changes that we just made to the reusable snippet impact this document. I will double click on the file to open up the document inside of Word. And as you can see, my document opens up and I can begin using it just like any Microsoft Word document. However, what is going on behind the scenes is SmartDocs has detected that this document contains SmartDocs content, and behind the scenes it is checking the status of that SmartDocs content to ensure that all of the content in this document is up to date. If I click on my SmartDocs tab, you can see here we have a status icon. Currently this status icon has a red X, which indicates that this document contains content that is not up to date. And of course that is the recycling information snippet that we created out of this document, which was on version 1.0, and there is now a version 2.0 of that snippet available. If I go ahead and I click on the status icon, this will show me all of the SmartDocs content inside of my document and the status of that content. And in this case, we can see, of course, that SmartDocs is telling us that this document contains one or more snippets that are not up to date. I can then use the Actions button to figure out what SmartDocs content is not up to date and resolve those conflicts. In this case, we can see that our recycling information snippet is not up to date. We are using version 1.0, and version 2.0 is the latest version available in our repository. So I can then click on the Go To button, which will jump me to that snippet inside of this document. If we then take a look at our SmartDocs task pane, we can see that when we cursor inside of this recycling information snippet, that again we are getting a status notification that is letting us know that an updated version of this snippet is available. Of course, we are using version 1.0 of the snippet in this document because this is the document the snippet was created from. And version 2.0 is now available because that is the update that we just made in our smartphone document. I have a variety of options here by clicking on the status notification. The first thing I may want to do is I may want to view what the latest version of the snippet looks like. So as you can see, by clicking on the View option, this is showing me a preview of what the Recycling Information version 2.0 snippet now looks like. You can see the content that we deleted is now gone, and the content that we added, of course, is now part of the snippet. After viewing the snippet, if it's not clear to me what has changed, another option I have is I can issue a compare. This compare operation will compare the current state of your snippet inside of your document with the latest version of the snippet from the SmartDocs repository. So as you can see, the compare operation uses Microsoft Word change tracking to indicate what content has been added to the snippet and what content has been deleted from the snippet. After you've done your change assessment, and if you determine that these changes should be accepted inside of your document, you can simply go back to the notification and click on the Update to Latest Version option. This will automatically update the snippet inside of your current document to use the latest version from the SmartDocs repository. As you can see, we get a success message indicating that the update was successful. And if we look back over in our SmartDocs task pane, you can see that the status notification has gone away because this document is now using version 2.0 of the snippet, which is the latest version. One final thing to share with you regarding snippets is the snippets property screen. From the snippet property screen, we can access and view any of the metadata about the snippet. We can view the complete version history for the snippet, including who created the snippet and who last modified it. And we can also view the usage history for the snippet. The usage history for the snippet is going to show you all of the documents and all of the users that have used this snippet. You can use the usage history to do impact assessment. Anytime you make a change to a snippet, you can look at the usage history to see what is the potential impact of the change that you are about to make. Let's now take a look at how you can use conditional text and document snapshots to produce multiple variations of output from a single Microsoft Word document. In this example, our Intune Media Player has three different variations. We have the Intune Pro, which supports web browsing and video. We have the Intune Classic, which supports video only. And we have the Intune Mini, which supports neither video nor web browsing. So what we have done in this example is from this one master Microsoft Word document, we can generate three different user guides, one for each variation of our product line. And we do this by using conditional text. If we look over in our document content, you can see that we have already conditionalized some content to only be visible when we are generating the output for that user guide. For example, this bullet point says surf the internet using a web browser. This bullet point should only be visible when we are generating the output for the Intune Pro because the Intune Pro is the only variation of our product that supports the internet. Just like reusable snippets, conditional text can be applied to any type of Microsoft Word content. For example, if we scroll down to the product overview section, we can see that we have three screenshots, one for each of the variations of our products. We have conditionalized each of these screenshots to be visible only when we are generating the output for that product. Conditionalizing content in your Microsoft Word document is very simple. For example, let's put a new bullet point in here that says sending email. Well, email should only be available when we are generating the user guide for our Intune Pro, since that is the only product that supports the internet. Therefore, let's conditionalize this bullet point to only be visible when we are generating the output for the Intune Pro. I can do that by highlighting the content that I want to conditionalize. selecting the conditional tag over in my SmartDocs task pane, and then clicking on the Apply button to apply that tag to the selected content. Once that tag has been applied to the content, that content has now been conditionalized and will only be visible when producing the output for that user guide. Once you've conditionalized content inside of your document, you can use the show command to show and hide various conditional content in your document to preview what the output's going to look like. For example, if we want to see what the output for our Intune Mini is going to look like, we can tell SmartDocs to hide all of the content associated with Classic and Pro and show all the content associated with the Intune Mini. Once we click on the Save button, SmartDocs will automatically update all of the relevant content in my entire document as I just told it to. If we scroll down to the section where we conditionalize images, you can see that only the image for our Intune Mini is visible, and the images for the Intune Classic and the Intune Pro have been hidden. If we now want to preview what the output's going to look like for our Intune Classic, we can go through the same exercise. And again, when we click Save, SmartDocs will update all of the content in our document and only show the content that is relevant to the Intune Classic. We can also use document snapshots to help facilitate the process of switching between the different variations of output that our document can take on. Anytime I want to preview what one of my document outputs looks like, I need to go through a couple steps. The first step, which I've just shown you, is I need to update the conditional text inside of my document. And the second step is I need to update the value for my product name reusable variable to reflect the output that I'm about to generate. In this case, we are viewing the content for the Intune Classic, so we'd have to update the product name variable to be Intune Classic. We can combine these steps into a simple operation using a SmartDocs feature that we call document snapshots. Document snapshots give you the ability to create a snapshot for each of the variations your document can take on. You can then restore that snapshot to your document at any time, and it will automatically update the conditional text and the reusable variables in your document to match that variation. So as you can see, I have already set up document snapshots in this document for Intune Classic, Intune Mini, and Intune Pro. So if I want to preview what my output looks like for Intune Mini, all I need to do is restore that snapshot. As you can see, SmartDocs automatically updated all the conditional content in my document and also updated the product name variable for me, so I didn't have to make a manual update. And again, if we scroll down and we look at the screenshot, you can see that only the screenshot for the Intune Mini is visible. I can then just as easily restore the snapshots for my Intune Classic to preview that output. And again, I can do the same for my Intune Pro and preview that output. And as you can see, the conditional text and the reusable variables are automatically updated every time. Let's now take a look at how we can use the bulk publishing option in SmartDocs to publish each of the variations of our user guide in one simple step. You can access the bulk publishing option by selecting the Publish Document option on the SmartDocs Tools menu. This option will open up the Publish Document wizard, which will walk you through the publishing process. The first thing you do is you tell SmartDocs that you want to perform a bulk publish using the document snapshots that you have defined for this document. You can then select each of the snapshots that you want to publish the output for. In this case, I will publish the output for the Intune Mini, the Intune Classic, and the Intune Pro all at one time. You then select the format that you want to publish the output in. You can publish in Microsoft Word or in PDF format. You then can control various publishing options. And finally, you select the folder on your computer where you'd like to save the published files to. You can then click the Finish button and SmartDocs will perform the bulk publish. What SmartDocs is now doing is it is taking your master document and it is publishing 3 different outputs from this master document, one for each of the variations of your user guide. As you can see, the publishing operation has completed, and if I check this box and click on OK, SmartDocs will show me the published output inside Windows Explorer. So as you can see, we've had 3 separate Word documents generated, one for the Intune Mini, one for the Intune Classic, one for the Intune Pro. And if we go ahead and we open up the Mini user guide, you can see that this is its own Word document that contains all of the content for the Intune Mini media player. And of course, if we scroll, we can see that there are no bullet points visible that talk about video or internet. And likewise, if we scroll down, we will see only the screenshot for the Intune Mini player is visible. The SmartDocs publishing operation is used to produce a pristine copy of your Word documents. The publishing operation will take your master SmartDocs document and then it will produce one or more copies of that document based on the snapshots that you have defined for your document. These published documents will contain pure Microsoft Word content, as all SmartDocs formatting and all SmartDocs markup is removed. Thank you for taking the time to watch this demonstration video today. SmartDocs has numerous other features that will help you manage and reuse your Microsoft Word content. Please visit our website at www.36.net to learn more, or feel free to send us an email at info@36.net.